What's going on, guys? It's time for another NHL 24 roster review. Today, EA released their November roster update. If you guys don't know, go over to More, Rosters, Active Rosters, and then click to download the most recent one. In this case, it's the November 21st roster. Click A, you're set. Now, this one actually has a ton of changes, so I'm going to go through them with you guys, give you my thoughts. I feel like some of them are definitely a little bit controversial, probably a little bit too much recency bias, but I'll go through all the skaters first, and then we'll take a look at the goalies. So starting off here, guys, with the Anaheim Ducks, you got Trevor Zegras actually going down in rating by 1. Hasn't had the best start to the year, which is kind of funny after getting paid. McTavish here actually got a +2, now an 85. He's had a solid start, and I will say he should definitely have medium potential. Like, I don't know why you give him a high top 6 as a 3rd overall pick, already 85 at 20 years old. Ryan Strome there got a boost, +1. Vetrano got a +2. He's been scoring like crazy start the season. Drysdale, I think, is definitely still too high, 83. I know he's, injured right now, but they started him out way too high. Carlson there, 82. I think that's pretty fair for Carlson. I wouldn't go any higher than that, but I would give him highly potential. Mintyukov there got a +3, now an 81. He's looked really good so far to start his rookie season. I think other than that, Jackson Lacombe might have been up 1 to a 79. Max Jones down 1 to a 78. And I think that's it for the Ducks. And next year, guys, we got the Arizona Coyotes. Sean Jersey got a +1, now an 85. I think that's probably a bit too high for Jersey. I think the 84 was fine. JJ Moser there also got a +1, now an 84. That's probably okay. Zucker's actually down in rating to 82. Cooley's up in rating to an 82. Still has the medium potential. I think that's a solid rating there for Cooley. Look at his stats. Sick hands. I actually like where he's at. After him, Hayton actually got a -1, now an 81. Bukestad, though, got a +1, up to an 81. After him, I think Kerfoot lost 1, now an 80. Jack McBain, those up 1 to an 80. After that, I think Carconi got a +1, now a 79. And then after Carconi, I think that's it for the Coyotes. Moving on now to the Boston Bruins. So the first change for them, Hampus Lindholm actually down from 88 to 87. I think that's fine. I think they started him out a little bit too high to start the year. Charlie Coyle, though, is actually up to an 84. He's been playing pretty good in that second-line center role. DeBrusk there is down from 84 to 83. He's been playing a lot of third line, not producing as much as he did last season. Matthew Poitras there up to an 81, well-deserved. I mean, made the NHL, hasn't looked out of place. I think he's playing third-line center right now. So Matthew Poitras there is now 81 overall, medium top 6. I think the first roster, he was like a 67 high top 9, so a huge upgrade for him. After that, I think Morgan Geekie dropped by 1 to 80. Same with Dan Heinen. And I want to say that's it for the Bruins. Now, next, you guys get the Buffalo Sabres. Small change to Rasmus Dahlin. He's now a lefty/righty. I know Tugi was asking for that. Tage Thompson actually dropped in rating from 91 to a 90. Obviously, hasn't had, quite the hot start of the season he's had the past couple years. Dylan Cousins there dropped by 1, 86 to 85. Middlestat, though, got a +1, now at 84. Could probably give him medium top 6 or even low elite. I think low top 6 a bit too low for him. Turka there, pretty big upgrade, +2, now an 83. Olofsson there got dropped by 1 to an 82. I think Yogi Harju there got a +1, now an 81. And I believe Krebs got a -1, now a 79. Jacob Bryson there at 78, way too low rated still. He should be like at least an 80, I think. Should also be probably even faster than that. And then Zach Benson here, 77, mediumly potential. I think, Benson's proved he should probably be like a 79. He hasn't looked, to other place in the NHL. His goal last night, barred down between the legs for his first ever NHL goal, which is absolutely insane. Moving on now, guys, the Calgary Flames. A lot of rating drops on this team. Definitely underperforming severely to start the year. I thought they were going to have a bounce back. Has not been the case. Lindholm's down by 1 to an 88. Huberdeau there's down by 2 to 86. Still has a bunch of passing X factors there. I think that's okay. I think maybe you could leave him 87. I don't know. It's tough to say. Kadri's down by 1 to 85. Zadorov there actually got a +1, now an 83. I think Coleman there also got a +1, up to an 83. Shillington could probably be LTIR. He hasn't played in the NHL for like 2 seasons now. I think Sharangovich there also dropped by 1 to 81. Same with Dylan Dubé. You got Connor Zary, though, up by 2 to an 80. And I want to say that is it for the Flames. Moving on now to the Carolina Hurricanes. You got Svechnikov down by 1 to 88. I think that's probably fair. I feel like 89 is probably a little bit too high for him off the start. Teravainen 86, I still think's probably a bit too high personally. I don't think he's had any changes. I just think that's a bit too high rating for him based on last season. Brady Shea 85, he actually got a +1. Now as good as Orlov. I don't know about that one. Kokiniemi 84, now as good as Jarvis. Again, I'm not so sure. D'Angelo got a -1 to 82. That makes sense. After him, I think Drury and Lemieux here both got -1s, now 77s. And now next up, guys, we got the Chicago Blackhawks. This is the big controversial one. Connor Bedard's now an 86. I mean, he's definitely picked it up the last couple weeks. I feel like when he started out, he wasn't doing that great. I think he was like, 5th or 6th rookie scoring. Now he's number 1. 86 overall off the get-go. 94 offensive awareness. Only got 83 D awareness there. All offense. 94 wrist shot. I mean, 86, I'm trying to think. I feel like it's probably a little bit too high. I feel like, to me, you gotta compare them to the other rookies. So Logan Cooley there's an 82. Leo Carlson's also an 82. Is Bedard 4 overall better than them? I think that's a bit much, especially with the franchise potential. I feel like Bedard would probably make an 85 max right now. If he continues, to get even better, tear it up more during the season, then by all means give the upgrade. But I think 86 is probably a little bit crazy. Like, he's going to be unstoppable in franchise. Starting out 86 at 18 with medium franchise potential. Just ridiculous. After that, Taylor Raddysh actually dropped in rating from 82 to 81. I think there was a couple other changes on the Blackhawks. Kurashev's up by 2 from 79 to 81. I feel like Korchinski, they're up by 2, now an 80. That's fair. Reichel here actually dropped in rating to a 79. I mean, I think that one is what it is, but I believe that was it for the Blackhawks. Now look at the Avalanche here, guys. A lot of their depth players got rating changes, so like no changes to the top 5-6 guys. I will say, Bowen Byram still being an 86 makes no sense to me. I think he's a solid defenseman, but like you look at his stats this year, he's got 5 points and he's a -3. I know points isn't everything, plus minus isn't everything, but personally, I thought 86 was too high to have him at to start the season, and he hasn't had a great start to the year. I don't know how he's not getting a rating change. Personally, I would have him an 83, maybe an 84. 86 is way too high. Samuel Girard here actually dropped by 1 to an 84. Manson went up by 1, though, to an 84. Tatar there's down by 1 to 82. I think Colton Johansson are the same. Wood actually got a +1, and now an 82. Look at the rest of these guys. Duran got dropped by 2, now a 79. That makes more sense. 81 was a bit too high from the start, but honestly, they could make his passing stats even better. Just kind of change around the attributes a little bit. Cogliano there dropped by 1 to 79. Same with Caleb Jones. Olofsson, though, I think, got a +2 to 77 because he has been playing a bit more. And next year, guys, look at the Columbus Blue Jackets. So first change, Johnny Gaudreau down by 2 from 89 to 87. I mean, it's hard to argue with that. He hasn't had an amazing start. I think you could probably still leave him like an 88 just because he is only, a couple years removed from an insane season. Kind of crazy, like him and Huberdeau both dropping in rating so much. A lot of people have been saying, what if you like just swap those two? I don't really think Gaudreau would go back to Calgary, but it would be kind of funny. Provorov there actually up by 1 to 86. He's had a pretty good start to the year just in terms of assists. Patrick Laine got rating downgrade from 87 to 86. I mean, the dude was literally scratched the other night. It makes sense. They've also added center there as a secondary position. What are his faceoffs, though? 65, so he's pretty much useless at the center spot. Fantilli here also now an 82, just like Carlson and Cooley. It's kind of funny. I set up all 3 of those rookies, should be higher rated in the game. That way they actually produce their rookie season. And good to see someone at EA make that change. After that, I think Voronkov here got an upgrade, now a 79. He's a guy I honestly didn't really know much about. 6'5 there. He's been playing on the first line a bit, so good to see that. Good. Branson as well got a +1, now a 79. The contract's still terrible, unless he's like at least an 82. That contract's going to be crap. Andrew Peak there got a downgrade, though, from an 81 to a 79, and I believe that is it for the Blue Jackets. Actually, guys, just so I don't forget, Ken Johnson got downgraded as well from 84 to 82 as he's playing in the AHL right now. Honestly, though, I'm not really sure what the Columbus Blue Jackets are doing. Like, they're kind of struggling. I feel like Ken Johnson could help them out, and he's currently tearing up the AHL. He's averaging almost 2 points a game, so I feel like they definitely should call him up, but what do I know? Next up, guys, we got the Dallas Stars. I think they might have the least changes of any team, but the first one's a pretty big one. Heiskanen now a 91. I think I said at the beginning of the game that 90 overall was too low for him. I would also make him a high elite. Definitely one of the more underrated, elite defensemen in the league. After that, a big change I like. Wyatt Johnston here, up by 2, now an 84, medium top 6. So gonna make him even better in the franchise sim. I think, too, they've actually changed his player type from 2A forward to sniper. Honestly, he kind of does it all, so whether he's 2A forward or sniper, I think both do work. And then finally here, Sam Steele down by 1 from 81 to 80. Moving on now, guys, to my favorite team, the Detroit Red Wings. So Alex DeBrincat, after that insane start he had, up from an 87 to 88. I like seeing that. Shane Gostisbehere there, also got an upgrade, now an 85. He had a very hot start too before slowing down a little bit. I think Jeff Petrie there is still too high rated, but it is what it is. David Perron here actually dropped in rating by 1 from 85 to 84. I'm hoping, like, if we're outside of a playoff spot come the deadline, we can trade him for something. Jake Wallman here finally getting a bit more respect, now an 83. Honestly, like, if you look at the analytics, Wallman should probably be even better than 83. Definitely also should probably be a two-way defenseman, not defensive, but that's fine. Good to see him not being 81. Like, that was way too low rated for him. And then finally here, Joe Veleno got a +1 from a 79 to an 80. And next year, guys, we got the Edmonton Oilers. I would say everyone's favorite team to watch this year just because it's like, watching a train wreck or whatever. You can't take your eyes off them. So they've only got one player going up in rating. The rest are down. McDavid, Draisaitl, no change. Nugent Hopkins here actually dropped by 1 to 87. I gotta say, I don't agree with this. The dude's literally, like, months away from putting up a 100-point season, and he's currently got 14 and 18. Like, I don't really think that deserves a downgrade, personally, but I guess at EA they disagree. Darnell Nurse there, down by 1 to 86. He was too high rated at 87 anyways. Ekholm's down by 1. He hasn't really looked as good as he had in the past, so I agree with that as well. After him, Fogle is actually the one player on the team getting a +1 from 81 to 82. Kulak could be higher than 80, I personally think. Connor Brown here got a pretty big downgrade from an 83 to an 80. I believe that makes sense. Hasn't really done much for them since joining the team. Ryan McLeod, they're also down in rating from a 80 to 79. Broberg's down in rating to a 77. I think that would make sense too. Like at this point, 22, they really thought he was going to be a big part of that defense. Has not been the case. Desharnais here does play regular minutes, but he's pretty average. 75 is probably a little low. You probably should make him a 77 as well, tied with Broberg. Next year, guys, we got the Florida Panthers. Matthew Tkachuk's actually down by 1 from a 94 to a 93. Honestly, though, like, he would have had to continue his really good pace to keep that 94 rating. Hasn't been the case. He's still super high rate at 93. Sam Reinhart here actually up by 2 from 86 to 88. He's been so hot to start the year. I don't think anyone's going to argue with that one. I do still think Montour 88's a bit too high rated. Ekblad's just overall the better defenseman. Somehow they're tied. After that, Rodriguez here actually up by 1 from 83 to 84. Is he as good as Bennett? I don't know. I think 83 was fine for him. Ekman Larson, though, definitely got a well-deserved upgrade. He's been playing on that top pair while Ekblad and Montour have been out with injuries, and he's been doing pretty good there. He was an 82. He got a +2. He's now an 84. After that, I'm trying to think. Cousins, I believe, went down in rating to a 79. And I think that's it for the Panthers. Next up, guys, we got the LA Kings. Starting off here with Drew Doughty. He's actually down in rating from 89 to 88. I will say I think 89 was a bit too high for him at the start anyway, so 88 makes sense. Adrian Campa here actually up by 1 from 86 to 87. He's such a tough guy to gauge. I feel like 87 might be a bit high for him. Definitely, though, he should not be a two-way forward. The guy had 41 goals last season. I don't know how that's not a sniper. He's not like known for being super good defensively. That one doesn't make sense. Same thing with Kevin Fiala. He had 50 assists essentially last year. How is this guy a sniper with 23 goals and not a playmaker? I don't get it. Mikey Anderson there, +1, now an 85. Dubois actually dropped in rating to an 85. I will say, I think everyone expected him to do a lot better here with the LA Kings to start. Hasn't really been the case. I would give him more potential, though. At least high top 6, if not medium elite. Trevor Moore here got a +1, now an 84. He's looked really good to start the season as well. Same with Quentin Byfield, starting to show why he was the number 2 pick in that 2020 draft. Also, as well, they added left wing there as a secondary position, that I think has been playing first-line left wing with Kopitar. After those guys, I think that's pretty much it. Jordan Spence got a +1, now an 80, and I want to say that's all the changes for the Kings. Moving on now, guys, we got the Minnesota Wild, so no changes to the top 3. Zuccarello got a +1, now an 87. I feel like, honestly, Zuccarello's a good player, often underrated. Eriksson Ek, same thing, got a +1, now an 86. Jacob Middleton here got a +2 up to an 83. He's a solid defensive defenseman. A lot of people said that. I think last season when they traded the Sharks for him, I didn't really know a lot about him. Everyone said, he's very sound defensively. Brock Faber here got a +2 as well, now an 81. Rossi got a +1 to 81. So honestly, a lot of upgrades on the Minnesota Wild who aren't really doing the greatest this season. Pat Maroon got a +1, now an 80. I think the only player that dropped was Freddie Gaudreau there from an 81 to an 80. Kind of surprising to see he's got the all-alone X-Factor there as well, being so low rated. Next up, guys, we got the Montreal Canadiens. No changes so far to Suzuki or Caulfield. Surprised, honestly, with Caulfield. He's only got like one 5-on-5 goal, I think, to start the year, but obviously I think 86 was already a pretty decent rating for him. 85 be too low. Masson, though, got a +1, now an 85. Monahan as well got a +1. He's actually been so good to start the year, like a complete, career resurgence for him in Montreal. After that, Gallagher got a +1, up to an 82. Newhook as well got a +1. I think Anderson actually dropped in rating from 82 to 81. It's a bad contract at that point. Justin Barron got a +1, now an 80. Slafkovsky there, still 79, medium elite. I want to say Yolonen dropped in rating, now a 77. And I feel like that's it. I do think, where is he? Jack Guy, high top 6 potential. Probably a bit too high for him. I think medium top 6 was more than fair. Last year they gave him like medium 7, so I feel like EA often overcorrects. And next up, guys, we got the Nashville Predators. Philip Forsberg got a +1, now an 89. Honestly, I think Forsberg is a very good player, well-deserved. Thomas Novak as well, +3, now an 84. Since he got the call-up last season, he's honestly been such a solid player. I think 84 is a good rating for him. I'd be very curious to see what kind of contract he gets, because right now he's making basically league min this season. After that, I think the next change is going to be Cody Glass, up by 1 to an 80. Tomasino actually dropped by 1 to an 80. Then you've got, I think, Evangelista here got a +2. Now 79. He's getting regular NHL minutes. That makes sense. And then finally here, Trennan dropped by 1 from 80 to 79. And next year, guys, we got the New Jersey Devils. Jack Hughes now a 93 overall there with high elite potential. He got a +2 rating. At the start of the season, he was a 91. I think at the start as well, I said 91 was too low for him. Should probably be a 92. Now he's a 93 after, being the best player in the league to start the season before, of course, he got injured. I mean, it's hard to argue, honestly, based on the start he had. Just for Bratt there as well, got a +1, now an 89. He's had a crazy start. His year dropped in rating by 1, down to an 88. I don't know if he deserved a drop in rating. I think they probably just should have had him an 88 to start the season. Mercer there dropped by 2, now an 83. I think 85 was too high for Mercer at the start. Luke Hughes here as well, got a +2, now an 82. I think that makes sense. Same rating as Fantilli, Carlson, Cooley, all those rookies who, are at the top of that rookie class this year. Palat here dropped by 1, now an 82. That makes a lot more sense with his play. Also, to make it, more difficult for the Devils to kind of move his contract in franchise. Curious to see what they'll do. Eric Haller there got a +1, now an 82. I think that's a fair rating. I want to say that's it for the Devils. So I got to say one thing. I'm going to skip ahead here, guys, because Jack Hughes was the best player in the world for the first, 10 games of the season. Then he got injured. He's a 93. Petey here is a 94. I mean, I like Petey. Is Petey a better player than Jack Hughes? Obviously, he's been super hot the last couple weeks, but to say he's better than Jack Hughes, I don't know if I agree with that one. It's just an interesting choice to my mind. Moving on now, guys, the Islanders. No change to Barzal. Dobson, those up to an 88. I think that's a bit high for Dobson. I don't really mind the Mealy potential, but Dobson, in my mind, 86, maybe 87. After that, I'm actually surprised by this change. Brock Nelson's down by 1 from 86 to 85. The dude has 10 goals in 18 games with 4 assists, but 14 points in 18 games with 10 goals. I feel like 86 would have still been fine for him. Last year, he had a solid season. This year, it's not a terrible start. That's a weird one. Anders Lee down to 84. I think that one makes more sense. Romanov's also down by 1 to 82. And I think there was one other change. Sebastian Aho down by 1 there to a 79. And now next year, guys, we got the New York Rangers. Artemi Panarin got a +1 rating, now a 94. I feel like that's pretty bold by EAs. When the ratings came out, pretty much unanimously, everyone said Panarin at 93 was a little bit too high rated. Now he's a 94. Obviously, he has had his hot start to the year, but I feel like the hot start would just kind of justify the 93. Not mean he should actually be even higher rated at 94. So, interesting choice by them. At the same time, Adam Fox only has medium elite potential. Are you kidding me? Adam Fox, I would say, is about as good as Cale Makar. Makar's a 95 with medium franchise potential. Fox should be like a 94 with medium franchise potential in my mind. And they have a 92 medium elite. Honestly, just so underrated. Zibanejad there got a -1, now an 89. I think that's okay. Trocheck there got a +1, now an 85. Blake Wheeler got downgraded by 1 to 84. I think you can maybe make him an 83. Lindgren actually got a +1. Same with Gustafsson. Now, Gustafsson's looked really good since Fox got injured. Playing that top power play, has been putting up, I think, about a point per game. So I feel like it's tough to argue against that. Lafreniere there also got a +1, now an 83. Finally starting to look like, why he got picked first overall, though still has a lot of room to grow, I think. After that, I think Capo Caco there down by 2, now an 80. He's also got the lowly potential. Cooley there got a +2, now a 77. You could definitely make him like a 79. I'm pretty sure he's playing third line for the Rangers regularly. I think, 79 would make more sense. And now next year, guys, look at the Ottawa Senators, another team with a bunch of turmoil to start this season. Jacob Chikrin here actually got a +1, now an 87. Same with Claude Giroux. I think both those guys have looked good in Ottawa. Shabbat actually got downgraded by 1, now an 87 from 88. I feel like Shabbat could have still been an 88. I do think he's a solid defenseman. Sanderson there got a +1, now an 86. I don't know. I think Sanderson, when he was an 85, hadn't really done enough to prove it one season. Now he's already an 86. Seems a bit too early for me. Batherson got downgraded by 1, now an 84. I think he was already kind of too low rated 85, so I would have left Batherson 85, made Norris an 86 personally. After that, Zub got a +1, now 83. Joseph got a +2, up to an 82. Shane Pinto, no change, which is good. Kubalik here got downgraded by 1, now an 82. Brancham as well got downgraded 81. Even though he was injured some of the season, he hasn't really produced much. Ridley Gregg there up to an 80, I think is good to see. And I want to say that's actually it for the Senators. Next year, guys, we have the Philadelphia Flyers. Travis Konecny's up by 1, now an 87. Sean Couturier had no change. Honestly, I think Couturier deserves an upgrade. I think a big reason why the Flyers aren't terrible right now is because they got their first-line center back in Couturier. He's such a good two-way player. He's helped them produce offensively. He's one of the best face-off takers in the NHL, solid defensively. He should be at least an 87, if not an 88, in my opinion, just because he is so good all around. After those guys, Travis Sanheim here also got a +1, now an 86. He's been producing a decent amount to start this season, definitely more than normal. Owen Tippett there got a +1, now an 83. Frost is up to an 82. Noah Cates, I think, actually got downgraded to 81. After him, I think Bobby Brink got a +3, now a 79. So kind of like Will Cooley. Any of those young players playing in that, middle six role, producing okay, I think should be at least a 79. Paling here actually got downgraded to 78. His speed there, at least it's 90 speed in Excel. I know they made that change. He should probably honestly even be faster than that. And now the Pittsburgh Penguins are up next year, guys. No change to the big three. Jake Gensel, though, now an 89. I think that makes sense. Beginning of the season, I did say 88 was too low rated for him. Brian Russ here as well, up to an 85. I think Raquel here got a downgrade by 2, now an 83, which makes sense. 85 was definitely too high for him. I think Eller actually got a +1, now an 82. Carter dropped by rating to 81. I think that makes a lot more sense for him as well. And I think that might be actually all the changes for the Penguins. And now next year, guys, we got the worst team in the NHL, the San Jose Sharks. So they're kind of funny. I'm just going to go to the one player that actually got an upgrade. That is Fabian Zetterlund, up from an 80 to 81. Everyone else on this team that got changed got a -1. No change to Hurley Couture. Duclair, though, got a -1. Same with Barbanov. Ferraro didn't get touched. Addison got a -1. Granlund got a -1. Vlasic got a -1. Hoffman got a -1. Same with Zadina there. Like, they basically just went through, like, their entire top 9 forwards pretty much. I gave them all -1. We're now looking to see how Kraken here, guys. Brian Dumoulin actually got a +1 rating, now an 85. This one's really surprising to me because Dumoulin was such a solid defensive defenseman for the Penguins, and EA never had him higher rated than like an 83 at most. Now he's an 85 with the Kraken. I feel playing pretty much the same. Doesn't make sense to me. Like, why was he never an 85 during like his best years with the Penguins? Bergstein here is up to an 85 now as well. Matty Beniers actually dropped by 1 to 84. I think that's fair. 85 was probably a bit too high for him based on just, 55 points. Gordo actually got dropped by rating as well to 84. Larson, same thing. Going through the rest of these guys here, I think there were some other small changes. Cardi's up to a 79. Yamamoto got dropped to a 79. I mean, he was, traded and put on waivers, so I think it makes sense. Next year, guys, look at the St. Louis Blues. Robert Thomas is up by 1 in rating, now an 88, which is good to see. I will say, though, I'm still not sure why they have him as a two-way forward. Like, he's one of the better playmakers in the league. Last year, he had almost 50 assists. Makes no sense to me. Also, too, they still him with the Wheels X Factor. You guys can see his speed and excel there. Those should definitely be a little bit lower. Again, I mentioned another video, but he literally said to me personally, he's one of the slower players on his team. Jordan Kyrou there dropped by 1, now an 87. Veranda there also dropped by 1 to 83. I think Veranda at 84 to start the year was way too high anyways. I think even 83 might be a bit high. Make him like an 82, but still have a really good shot. After that, I think Sodergaard -1, now an 81. And lastly on the Blues, Jake Neighbors there actually down to 78. I don't mind that, but I would have him at medium top 6 potential. He was a first-round pick. He's been playing in the NHL. I don't really see the point to lower the potential that much. And next year, guys, look at the Tampa Bay Lightning. Nikita Kucherov's now 95 overall. Honestly, this one's pretty hard to argue with. Like, all the dude does is produce. I mean, 113 points, 69, 85, obviously, shortened seasons, 128, 100. I think, you look at the other 95 overall players. I think Kucherov deserves to be right in that mix. Now, having said that, it's kind of weird to see his potential there as medium elite. Obviously, he's 30, so it doesn't really matter too much. It just looks strange to me being a 95 with not, max potential. After him, Hagel here actually got a +1, now an 86. He's looked really good since joining the Lightning. I thought that trade, might have been bad for them, but it looks to have worked out pretty decently. Sherry there's actually dropped to an 81. That makes sense. Janot's actually back up to an 80 after being dropped to a 79. Asamont there's a 78 now. I think there was like one other change. Bray Belay up to a 77. And next year, guys, the team, a bunch of you have been waiting for, the Toronto Maple Leafs. So Austin Matthews, no change, still 93 high franchise. Personally, I'd have Matthews at 94. Marner 92 is fine. I would have him at highly potential though. Nylander's actually at 91 now. So, I mean, longest point streak in the NHL to start the season so far. He might break the Leafs record. 91 overall. I don't know. I think that might be a tad high for Nylander. Personally, I would go 94, 92, 90 for the top 3. I think that just makes more sense. Honestly, as well, Tavares, I think he could probably make an 88. Like, he's had a solid start to the year. Bertuzzi dropped by 1 to 84. That makes sense. A lot of guys, too, are, I'm sure, waiting to see. Klingberg also dropped in rating, now an 82. I'm sure a bunch of Leafs fans think he should be like a 78, 79. 82 for Klingberg, though, I think is actually a pretty fair rating. Nick Robertson's actually up by 1 to an 80. And I want to say Matthew Knies as well, +2, now an 80. So, overall, I think the Leafs ratings there aren't too bad. And you already saw this guy before, guys, but PD, as I mentioned, now at 94 overall. I think that's a bit high for PD. I think, 93 is probably fine for him. Really good start to the year, but again, I think a ton of recency bias. Quinn Hughes as well at 92. Honestly, I don't mind that too much, though, because if McCarr's a 95, Fox is a 94, I think Quinn Hughes being a 92 is actually pretty fair. I would honestly give him a highly potential as well, opposed to medium elite. Looking at his stats, he's still way too fast. 96 speed and 96 excel. They have him just as fast as Nathan McKinnon. That is simply not the case, so I don't understand why that just sometimes happens. JT Miller there got a +2, now an 89. I mean, he's been tearing up to start this year. I'd probably have him like an 88, but it's not that far off. Hronik's an 87. He's also been producing a ton. I mean, these 5 guys, including Besser, who got a +2. A big reason why the Canucks are off to such a hot start. I mean, there's always a bit of Vancouver bias with the EA ratings, so I'm not too surprised by these. Again, I think PD probably 93. Hughes is good. Miller 88. Hronik, I think 86. You probably could have left him at. And then Besser 86, I'm actually fine with. Mikhailov there got a +1, now an 84. Garland got dropped by 1 to 83. Myers up to an 82, which is fine. Look at the rest of the team there. I think Hollinger got a +1, now an 81. DiGiuseppe as well, +2 to an 80. And then Suter there got dropped by 1 to a 79. Next year, guys, we got the Vegas Golden Knights. William Karlsson's the first change, now an 87. He's had his hot start to the season. I think 87, though, I don't know. The guy had, what, 55, 53 points last year. He seems to be, like, consistently a 50-point guy. Aside from the Golden Knights' inaugural season, where he had 78 with 43 goals. In my opinion, like, no higher than 86 on him. Stevenson, though, dropped in rating down 86. Barbashev as well, dropped in rating to 84. I'm actually kind of surprised to see how many guys on this team dropped in rating, considering the fact they're first in the Pacific Division. After that, Paul Carter got a +1, now a 79. Kolasar there dropped in rating, now a 78, and I believe that is it for the Golden Knights. Now, the Washington Capitals are up next here, guys. Karlsson got a -1, now an 89. I think that's the rating I said he should be, but I'd make him like an offensive defenseman. Kuznetsov as well got dropped by 1, now an 85. Backstrom there, still not LTIR'd, even though he might never play again. It's kind of a tough situation. Look at the rest of this team here. I think Mantha got dropped by 1, now an 81. Also, TJ Oshie there got dropped by 2, now an 80. Still has the breakaway X Factor, which I don't mind for TJ Oshie. McMichael there up to an 80. I think his potential to got worse. I want to say it was medium top 6 before. Now it's low top 6. Doesn't make a ton of sense to me. Honestly, one kind of surprising of the Capitals is they had a slow start to the year, but they've actually been really good recently. So I wonder if a bunch of these like rating changes are actually going to get reversed in the next update. And finally here, guys, Winnipeg Jets. Kyle Connor up by 1, now a 90. Finally getting that respect after being tied with Matthews for the league in goals. He should have been 90 to start the season. You can even make him a 91 in my opinion. After him, I think no big changes, honestly. Brendan Dillon there up to an 83. Same with DeMello. They're both solid defensive defensemen. Perfetti there's now an 83. Actually, I skipped over him. Nick Ehlers dropped in rating from 86 to 85. Ehlers definitely should be an 86. Like, he is a solid player. I think 85 is way too low for him. Like, William Karlsson, 87. Nick Ehlers, 85. The math does not add up there. Nate Schmidt dropped in rating now an 81. I think Appleton might be up to an 81, actually. Barron there's a 79 now. Kupari there also got downgraded to a 78. So there's a look, guys, at all your NHL skaters. And next year we'll take a look at the goalies. I know starting off, John Gibson's down 87. I think that's a bit too high. I'm pretty sure Dostal's actually had better numbers than him for the Ducks this season. I could be wrong on that. Maybe that was only the case for the first, 7-8 games. But Gibson 87 is much too high. He should be like an 85. And honestly, you could even make Dostal like an 81. I think he's actually had a solid season so far. Now look at the Coyotes here, guys. So Melkin and Ingram have had no changes. I will say I'd probably drop the Melkin to 83 because he's kind of lost a lot of starts to Ingram. It's kind of more of a tandem now. So make it like an 83-82. I think that would kind of represent real life better. Boston Bruins, Swayman there's now an 88. Like, are you kidding me? That goalie duo is insane. That's why even though their top two centers are Zaka and Coyle, they're still one of the best teams in the NHL. Also the fact that they have, a pretty crazy defense there led by McAvoy. But the goalie situation there is crazy. I would definitely give Swayman as well medium potential. I'm not sure why they only have him the high starter. Really curious to see what's going to happen. I think they got to trade one of these guys, but we'll wait and see, obviously. Buffalo here really makes no sense. Lukanen's an 82. Then you have Comrie and Levi both 80s. Levi started, I think the same amount of games as Lukanen this year, and I'm pretty sure he's supposed to, be the starter. I would say it should be, 81, 81, 80, something like that. Calgary Flames here. I think Vladosh actually got downgraded to 81. Markstrom, though, still 86. Anderson there is injured, so good to see no changes there. I don't think any change to the other two either. I know Blackhawks, Soderblom's down to a 79. And Mrazek here actually got a boost in rating from an 82 to 83. I think 82 for him was fine. Avalanche here, Georgiev actually got dropped in rating from 86 to 85. I mean, I think 85 is fine for him, but then Francouz shouldn't be an 84. Georgiev's the clear starter. This would kind of show it's more of a tandem, which it's not. Columbus Blue Jackets up next, whereas Lincoln's 84 is definitely way too high. He should be like an 82. It hasn't really been the same goalie he was since, a few years ago. Dallas Stars up next here. Jake Ondra actually up in rating by 1, now a 91. Honestly, you could even give him high elite. There's not really too many young goalies with that potential. Huso here got dropped by 1 to 85. I think that's fine as a Red Wings fan. Oilers here. Stuart Skinner's down in rating to 82. I mean, obviously, you could argue he should even be lower than that, but he was an all-star goalie last year, so 82 is probably fine. And just to make sure I don't forget, guys, Jack Campbell in the AHL is now an 80. I mean, the dude's been pretty bad. Got dropped to the AHL. The thing is, he hasn't been much worse than Skinner, so if he's an 80, you could probably honestly have Skinner like an 81. Now, speaking of AHL goalies, guys, they got Spencer Knight here in the AHL is an 85 overall. Kind of like Bowen Byram. He's one of the young players that's just way too high rated for no reason. I think an 82 for him is more than fair with elite potential. I don't really know what they're thinking there. And in regards to the rest of the Florida goalies, guys, no changes. Bobrovsky's still an 86. Flores there 81, which I think is good. Talbot here actually got a rating boost, down 85. Copley got downgraded to 80. Talbot's kind of stole that starting job, so I agree with that. Gustin here actually dropped from rating down 84, so him and Fleury are the same rating, more of a tandem. Montreal Canadiens here, no change to Allen or Montembeault. Nashville Predators, Saros is still an 89. I still think he's underrated. I know Nashville hasn't had a great season, but more so it's a team in front of him. Saros should be at least a 90. Now look at the Devils here. Schmid's dropped in rating from 85 to 84, which makes sense. He definitely could have been better. The Islanders, Varlamov's actually up in rating from 84 to 85. I mean, kind of like Boston, this is probably the second best duo in the league. Sorokin there and Varlamov, a very, very solid tandem. Rangers here, Shesterkin, Quick. Quick's actually gone up in rating 81. He's looked very good as the backup, playing for his, favorite team as a kid. Senators are up next year, guys. Korpisalo still in 84, but Forsberg's actually dropped in rating to 81. I feel like they probably could have left him in 82. Philly here, Hart still in 87. I feel like that still might be a bit high on Hart. I'd probably say 85, 86. Now look at the Penguins goalies, no rating changes there. San Jose Sharks also haven't had a change, but I feel like they should have. I think Blackwood's honestly playing so well considering the trash team in front of him. I would honestly bump Blackwood to an 83. I'd also drop Kakin to 81 because Blackwood is clearly the starter. So again, using like real life, why should they be the same rating? They're not a tandem. Blackwood's a starter. Make sure you have that rating separation. Seattle Kraken here, Grubauer 83. I think is what he was rated before. St. Louis Blues, I know Bennington's up in rating to an 86. I think 85, 86 is fine for him. Also Hofer, I would give high star potential to. Lightning here, obviously Vasilevsky's been injured. Johansson's been playing pretty good though, while he's been out. So I think the upgrade to 80 makes a lot of sense. Maple Leafs up next. Samsonov dropped in rating now in 84. And Wool here's up to an 82, which makes a lot of sense. He's getting a bunch more starts. Vancouver Canucks, Demko's up in rating to 89. Personally, I think Demko's one of the better young goalies in the NHL. I don't know if you can still call him young at 27, but he definitely deserved to be higher than the 87 he was. I would say 88, 89 is fair. Vegas Golden Knights here, Aiden Hill's down 86. They still have Leonard on the team as 85. I mean, this is another weird one. Like, I don't think Leonard's coming back, and having him on the Vegas Golden Knights, it makes their goalie situation just so weird in franchise. I wish they would just, make him a 70, make him LTIR. Washington Capitals, I don't think of any changes either. And then Winnipeg Jets, kind of surprisingly, Hellebuck's actually dropped in rating from a 91 to a 90. Even if his stats haven't been amazing for the Jets so far to start the year, they've been playing pretty well, and I think Hellebuck is that good of a goalie. They should have just left him at 91. So there's all the NHL skater and goalie rating review for you guys. One other thing I want to point out quickly, I was looking at some of the other leagues, and definitely, I'm not sure if they just missed it or what, but like Spitfires, for instance, they made a big trade to Saginaw Spirit, and because of that, Dionisio should be on the Saginaw Spirit. He got traded along with Christopoulos. As you can see, he's on Saginaw now, but Dionisio, who was part of that trade, is not, so I'm not sure what was going on there. Also, too, the players we got back from Saginaw were Mancini, who's still on their team, as well as Zugin, who's also still on the team. So I guess somebody forgot to put through the rest of the trade. I just thought that was funny. Also, guys, sticking in the OHL, I noticed Sudbury Wolves still don't have Dalibor Dvorsky. I don't know why they haven't moved him over from the SHL. He's played 10 plus games for the Wolves at this point, so it just doesn't make any sense. Another thing too I noticed, guys, going through the WHL specifically, so many players that should not be mediumly potential are mediumly potential. So definitely, download a custom roster if you want to just make this change on your own. If you want it to be a more realistic first-round draft for 2024. Tijja Ginla, he had AHL potential. People complain. Now he's elite potential. Again, they overcorrected here. He should have medium top 6. You keep going through here. Gavin McKenna should be medium franchise, not medium elite. He's way underrated. You look at some of the other guys, though. Parasak here, he's projected to go late first, early second. He should be a medium top 6. Again, not medium elite. I think Tanner Howe as well. Late first round pick. He should be a medium top 6. Not a medium elite. It doesn't make a ton of sense to me. Berkey Catton's one of the ones that actually deserves to be medium potential. Clark Castle's projected second round. He should be medium top 6. Jordan Gavin's 2025, so he's fine there. But again, just some of these potentials, I don't understand. I think the ratings definitely are in a better spot now than they were, but kind of as always is the case, a lot of work still to do, some weird things happening. Hopefully, eventually, sometime in my life, they'll release a roster update where I look at it and I go, you know what, that was perfect. Unfortunately, today is not that day, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, leave that thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit the sub button down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.